I love you. Ooh, yeah. Israel, I love you like I love myself. Israel. So don't avenge, no bear a grudge against the children of Israel. Just love thy neighbor as thyself, and be united in Israel. Praise the Lord of hosts, the Most High in Christ. Israel, I love you, Israel. I love you, Israel. I love you, Israel. I love you, Israel. I love you.
straight to the site. As soon as you get to the site, there'll be a column of hyperlinks on the right side of the page. And first or second one down will say this week's Torah. So you hit that, and then it takes you to the weekly Torah reading page. And then there'll be at the top of the page, there'll be 5 boxes there. And each box is labeled. The first box is Shabbat, second Parasha, and reading left to right. And the third one is Torah. Fourth one Haftarah, and the fifth one Brit Chadashah. We'll be going over the Torah portion, which is that middle box. You hit the table talk link right inside that box. It's in the little block parentheses there. It says table talk. So if you hit that, it takes you. It'll download for you. If you have an Android, if your phone works this way, and it'll take you to the Shabbat table talk page. And the first thing you'll see is overview and then synopsis. And what we're going to do is read the synopsis, which is basically a brief overview of what the Torah reading is going to be about today, what the Torah portion is going to be about today. So, and also we'll be reading Numbers chapter 13 all the way through Numbers chapter 15. The end of Numbers chapter 15. So that's 3 chapters there, okay? Numbers 13, 14, and 15. Not very extensive. Shouldn't take that long. That's the Torah portion. But if you go back to the website, the weekly Torah reading page, it'll to the right of Torah it says Haftarah, the box. So we'll be reading that also, and that's going to be the book of Joshua, the 2nd chapter, verse 1 through verse 24. 2:1 through 2:24 is what it says. And then to the right of that box, the very last box to the right says Brit Chadashah on the top of it, and that portion is that we'll also read that is Hebrews chapter 3 verses 7 through chapter 4 verse 1. So the middle of chapter 3 somewhere through the beginning of chapter 4. So that we'll be in the book of Numbers once again, the book of Joshua, and in the book of Hebrews. So we'll start in the book of Numbers. But before that, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the synopsis. So as we see what the overview, what we're going to be reading about here, what this week's Torah is going to actually be about. Before I do that, what I would like to do is go to Acts, and I believe it's chapter 13. Yes, Acts chapter 13. For those of you that are new to this or have been doing this with us very long, I like to go here just to remind everybody why we do this, particularly on the Sabbath, why the Torah readings, particularly on the Sabbath. And the simple layman's term answer is because we're trying to take back on original Hebrew Israelite culture. We're trying to take back on the culture and the traditions when we were in our rightful state and operating in accordance with the word of the Most High and doing things according to that. And so, again, the first scripture I want to get is in Acts chapter 13. And I think it's going to be verse 15. Let me see. Actually start at verse... Verse Acts 15. Well, it's Acts 13 and Acts. There's one in Acts 15 also. Yeah, bear with me here, because I think this is important to bring out. Laura, you might be familiar with this verse too. Okay, so Acts chapter 13, verse 27.
27. You want to read it?
Start at verse 27 in Acts chapter 13. Yes, please.
All right. So we're in Acts chapter 13, starting at verse 27.
So again, this is what our forefathers did during the time of Christ. Was every Sabbath, it was traditional for Hebrew Israelites to read the Torah, with the Torah being the first 5 books of the Bible, which primarily contain the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Okay, so every Sabbath, basically what we do is refamiliarize ourselves with the law. We talk about following the law, statutes, and commandments, but how often do we actually go over the laws of the actual laws of the Most High and familiarize ourselves with how the Most High does things according to His law, according to which is primarily located in the Torah portion of the Bible? Once again, the first 5 books of the Bible. So this is why I'm bringing this out, but didn't mean to interrupt. Please read. This is why I'm reading this, but go ahead.
Not a problem. We're in Acts chapter 13, verse 27.
Go ahead.
And it says, "For they that dwell at Jerusalem and their rulers, because they knew him not, nor yet the voices of the prophets, which are read every Sabbath day."
So the voice, it says that's the part I want to hone in on. The voice of the prophets. So the voice of the prophets, we're talking about the major prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah. We're talking about Joshua. We're talking about Moses. We're talking about the people that gave that the Most High worked through to give us the law. We're talking about the people that backed up the Most High's law and gave the law to Israel and taught Israel. Okay, so when it says the voices of the prophets, it's talking about the people that was giving us the laws. Okay, but go ahead. It says the voices of the prophets. Go ahead and read after that.
Which are read every Sabbath day.
Which are read every what?
Sabbath.
Every Sabbath day. That's why we're doing it. That's why we do this. So it's a good reminder, just to kind of, because you get new people, new listeners, even, new YouTubers. We got to be considerate of y'all. If you start to join us, it's good for you to kind of catch you up, for you to know why we do what we do. With that, let's skip to chapter 15. Same book, Acts chapter 15. It's gonna mention the same thing, but a little bit different wording. So jump forward 2 chapters, and bear with me.
Acts 15 and 21.
I believe that is, but hold on, let's see how far we're going to read down. That's the only part where it actually, okay, forgive me for not being prepared, but I do like to bring this out so people understand that we're not doing things like as if we're robots. There's a reason that we do everything that we do. So this is why I like to bring this out. But yes, excellent. Verse 21, please.
All right, Acts chapter 15, verse 21. For Moses of old time hath in every city them that preach him, being read in the synagogues every Sabbath day.
So them that preach him, them that preach Moses, right? The teachings. And what was Moses' primary objective? What was his job? As far as first of all, what tribe was he from?
The Levite.
And the Levites were responsible for what? During that time, it's the priesthood. The priests it was their job to deliver the law, statutes, and commandments and instructions of the Most High to the rest of the tribes, right? The Levitical law is synonymous to the priesthood. But read on.
Verse 22.
Yeah. Did you read in? Did you finish 21?
That was it.
Okay. It says being read in the synagogues. The synagogues meaning the places where we gather and we worship the Most High. Go ahead. Every Sabbath day, right? So today is the Sabbath. It's here in New Mexico anyway. It is Friday, sundown. The sun just went down, so we're starting our weekly Sabbath today. So and every Sabbath day, this is what we do. We read the Torah. We do the Torah readings because this is what our forefathers did. Okay, so we're just adopting those old customs, old Hebrew Israelite traditions back into our lives today because we went
rehearsing the righteous acts.
We're rehearsing the righteous acts, the water, because we went a period of time without these things. With that, it might be, yes, Acts chapter 8. No, it's not Acts chapter 8. I'm sorry. Bear with me. Toward the end of the Old Testament, Amos. What is that? One of those A books. Amos chapter 8 and verse 11. Somebody can read that for me.
Right here. Amos chapter 8 and verse 11.
Go ahead.
And it says, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water.
So we all know what a famine is a period of food shortage, where people don't got enough to eat. Food supply is low, and people are starving. People gotta we gotta subsidize, if you will. We gotta, this is how much we got, so we gotta make sure this lasts so long. So we gotta, each day we may only have this much. This day we may only have this much to drink. If we drink it all now, and in 3 weeks we don't have nothing else, we're probably going to starve to death. So what the Most High is saying here, he said, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water. So that's not the famine it's talking about. It's not talking about a physical famine, but read on.
We are in Amos chapter 8, verse 11,
Right.
towards the bottom here. It says, well, actually, let me start at the top again.
Go ahead.
Behold, the days come, saith the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water.
So again, not a physical famine. We're not talking about actual food and water here, but let's see what it's talking about. Read on.
But of hearing the words of the Lord.
So the Hebrew Israelites, the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel went a period of time because of our punishment, because of the curses that were put on us. We went a period of time, a long period of time, without the words of the Most High, without the laws, statutes, and commandments, without even knowing the Most High, without even knowing that we're Hebrew Israelites. A book of remembrance had to be written to bring us back because we've been so long and so many hundreds of whatever generations without it. We haven't been passing this down to our children. This has not been a part of our culture. But now it is time for us to wake up and return to the Most High. Being that it's time to wake up and return to the Most High, this famine is ending. We're getting the words of the Most High. Now we're waking up the 12 tribes right now. We're in the last days, and it's an awakening. So we're at the end of that. So in doing that, back to actually we were done with that. I just wanted to pull that on the side. So in what do you want to pull in Genesis?
Genesis chapter 2, verse 2.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
All right,
So we were talking in Acts chapter 13 and Acts chapter 15 about the Sabbath, but when is the actual day of the Sabbath? So go ahead and read it.
Genesis 2 and 2.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 2.
All right, we're in Genesis chapter 2, verse 2, and it says, And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And
Go Go ahead.
And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
Okay, so God rested on the seventh day. What is the seventh day? According to, so what we can do here, we'll show you what the seventh day actually is. The seventh day, when we look up the seventh day of the week, it's not showing. The seventh day of the week is, which is Saturday, or so-called sundown, Friday evening, so-called Saturday evening. And so the seventh day of the week is actually a Saturday. And a lot of people tend to think that Sunday is a Sabbath day. But when you look up the definition of Sunday, you find that it is the first day of the week. It's a full day of work. It starts. That's what I want to bring up.
Right.
So Saturday is the Sabbath. Why are we, today's Friday, why are we doing it today?
Because we're actually doing it tonight, because it's Friday night, sundown.
So is there anything that we can use to prove that we're supposed to start it the night before when the sun goes down?
Right.
Why not midnight? Why not the next day at 6 a.m.? Why the night before the sundown?
We would usually go to stay in Genesis.
Actually, let me pull it. I got a better one. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 32. That it goes straight to the point.
Leviticus chapter what?
Chapter 23, verse 32.
Leviticus chapter 23.
The scriptures say, "Prove all things." We don't want to just be up here talking and not using the words of the Most High.
Right.
Romans 3:3 tells us that also. So let God be true, but every man a liar. Right.
Right.
But go ahead. Where we at?
Said Leviticus chapter 23.
Chapter 23, verse 32.
Verse 32.
Yes.
All right.
Read that.
So Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 32 says, "And it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even shall ye celebrate your Sabbath."
So it tells you right there in verse 32, what it's particularly talking about is the high holy day of the Day of Atonement. You see on your calendars, you might see Yom Kippur. In ancient Hebrew, we say Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement. And but toward the end of this verse, it specifically says from even. So what is even?
Evening is what it's talking
Sundown,
about,
right?
sundown.
Evening, sundown, exactly. So it says from sundown unto what?
Until even
Unto sundown.
shall you celebrate your Sabbath.
That's when the day's supposed to start. So that's why that's why we're doing it now. Today's not Saturday yet; it's Friday, but it's Friday sundown, which is actually, according to the Hebrew calendar, Hebrew tradition, it actually is Saturday. Okay, according to Gregorian calendar, it's still Friday, but our day starts. Hebrew Israelite tradition, our day starts at sundown. So technically, in the Lord's eyes, it is the 7th day, which is the beginning. It's Saturday. It's Saturday now. It might not be Saturday according to Esau or according to America or whatever, but it's our Saturday. Our Saturday has already begun. Esau's Saturday, for whatever reason, and find this and prove it, starts at midnight. But ours starts at sundown, okay? But with that, let's go ahead and get into the Torah reading. Again, the reason I'm bringing that out is I want people to have the edification, understand why particularly the Torah readings on the Sabbath, 1. And 2, that we are trying to return back, in us, our efforts to return back to the Heavenly Father, we want to start taking back on our old traditions as much as possible. The old Hebrew Israelite traditions that we find in the scriptures. And returning back to the Most High we start doing the work of the Most High and doing what the Most High says according to the Bible, according to His words. Okay. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and do the Torah portion. Actually, I'm gonna do the synopsis. I'm gonna get back to this page and get right back on track here. And I have it downloaded here. Is everybody with us? If everybody was able to follow along and get to that synopsis, the Shabbat Table Talk page, you have to download that page. It's a PDF file. For those of you that are maybe watching and not familiar with how this works. Again, Hebrew for Christians, Hebrew, the number 4 Christians. Go to that website. The front page will be a column on the right side of the page, and maybe even the first link. It should say this week's Torah. You hit that link on the right, and it'll take you to the weekly Torah reading page. And look at those boxes. Look at those boxes, and the middle box, again, it says Torah on top of it, and right up under it, it says numbers and the chapters and the verses that we're going to be reading, and it also says Table Talk. So hit that Table Talk link, and that allows you to download the PDF file, which is where we're at right now, which is where the synopsis, the Shabbat Table Talk page is. At the top of that page, it says overview, and then it says synopsis, and that's what we're going to be reading. We're going to be reading the synopsis, which is the basic overview of what we're going to be going through in the scriptures, okay? So I'll read that real quick, and I'll go ahead and get it started. It says, the Israelites had been through a lot after their miraculous deliverance from Egypt. First, they were led to Mount Sinai, where Moses was given the Torah, and the people were ratified as God's covenant children. Next, the Levitical priesthood was established, and the tribes of Israel were meticulously arranged into military camp formation around the tabernacle. The dwelling place of the Lord, the tabernacle, which is the dwelling place of the Lord, After camping at Sinai for nearly a year, the Shekinah cloud lifted from the tabernacle, and the tribes began their march to the promised land. But after just 3 days in their journey, the people began complaining of their difficulties, and God sent fiery judgment. A bit later, they began to miss the free fish of Egypt, and God sent them a plague of quails. Miriam then slandered Moses' leadership, and God temporarily exiled her with a case of leprosy. Our Torah portion opens with the Shekinah leading the Israelites to Kadesh in the desert of Paran, near the edge of the land of Canaan. Moses then commissioned 12 spies, one prince from each of the 12 tribes, to go into the land of Canaan and bring back a report. The spies returned 40 days later with outrageous stories and samples of extraordinary fruit that grew in the land. However, 10 of the spies also gave a discouraging report indicating their lack of faith that the people could conquer the land. Only Joshua and Caleb were encouraging. Tragically, the people accepted the discouraging report and clamored to return to slavery in Egypt. Angered by their lack of faith, God sought to destroy the people, but Moses successfully persuaded him to relent. Instead, God decreed to lengthen the Israelites' wandering in the desert to 40 years, 1 year for each day the spies were in the land. All of the faithless generation of Exodus over the age of 20 would die in the desert, except for Joshua and Caleb, the 2 spies who kept faith with the Lord. After hearing the judgment of God, a group of remorseful Israelites decided to repent by taking matters into their own hands. Without either the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord or Moses' leadership, they presumptuously decided to storm a mountain on the border of the land, but were defeated by the Amalekites and Canaanites. The portion then shifts from the dramatic narrative to discuss various laws of sacrifice, reading almost like a passage from Leviticus that includes the narrative of a man who was judged for gathering sticks on the Sabbath. The portion concludes with instructions for placing fringes on the four corners of garments to remind us not to spy after our own hearts and eyes, which you are inclined to whore after. So, was that the end of the synopsis, according to what you have? Yeah, that is the end of it. Okay. So, basically, we're in the wilderness. This is the children of Israel in the wilderness, outside of Egypt. I don't know exactly how long outside of Egypt by this time, but so 12 spies were commissioned to go and spy on the land of Canaan, which we know would eventually be the promised land. We would take over that land, and we would make it our homeland. Eventually, that's where we were supposed to end up. Right now, we're like nomads wandering in the wilderness. We had just gotten out of Egyptian slavery. Okay, we had just crossed the Red Sea. The Red Sea had, the Most High opened the Red Sea up for us and then closed the Red Sea back on the Egyptians who decided to chase after us shortly after. But so we're in the wilderness. This is after that. We're in the wilderness right now. And so 12 spies, one prince from each tribe. We know there's 12 tribes, so a prince from each tribe was commissioned to go and spy the land out that we were going to take over and basically make our own land. So 10 of the 12 spies, as we just read, returned back with discouraging information. Okay, a discouraging report, and they would tell other people, and it would discourage other people. It would spread that negativity, that pessimism, if you will, throughout Israel. So only 2 people came back with encouraging reports, and that was Joshua and Caleb. Joshua and Caleb ultimately became the only 2 adults, I believe, that actually made it to the promised land with the rest of Israel, which were children, which was the next generation. So all that elder generation had to die. The Most High had to do it. It was basically
for 40 years.
40 years,
So
a purging process.
Right.
It was a purging process. Like, we can't use you to start over. Right. Y'all just came out of slavery, and this is a fresh start for y'all. For those of y'all that don't want to let that old leaven go, for those of y'all that don't want to let them old negative thoughts and ways of discouragement, it's like a cancer. You're gonna continue to spread that throughout the nation. So we can't use that to make a fresh start. You gotta either leave that behind, or you gotta stay behind with it, or you gotta die with it. You can't bring that over here. That's what the Most High is saying here. So only 2 adults, you know what I'm saying? All of them people, over 600,000 men between, and that's just the men between the ages of 20 and I believe 50 or 60, whatever the cutoff age was.
Yeah.
But I know the beginning age was 20 and 50. I believe you're right. But millions. We did the math on that. It's in the millions.
Right.
We're talking about over 500,000 just the soldiers, just the men. What about the women? Typically outnumber the men, first and foremost.
And the servants.
The children, servants, the elderly that are over a certain age. That's a lot of people out. And for only for all of the adults basically, except Joshua and Caleb, to die off. To have, you know what I'm saying? That generation has to go. Like, wow. But it's mind blowing when you really think about it. But let's get into it. Who wants to read? We can just split this into chapters, really. We don't have to really split it like exactly evenly, because it's gonna take us some time to count these scriptures out, because I didn't get to do it. But Who wants to start off with Numbers, the 13th chapter? That's where we're going to start off. Whoever wants to start off with Numbers 13, and then Numbers 14, next man. Numbers 15, next man. So yeah, Numbers chapter 13 or 15. Those three chapters.
Okay.
In full.
You want 13?
Yeah. All right, Numbers chapter 13, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses, by commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel. And these were their names: of the tribe of Reuben, Shemua, the son of Zakur; of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, the son of Hori; of the tribe of Judah, Caleb, the son of Jephunneh; of the tribe of Issachar, Igal, the son of Joseph; of the tribe of Ephraim, Oshea, the son of Nun; of the tribe of Benjamin, Paltai, the son of Raphu; of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, the son of Sadai; of the tribe of Joseph, namely, of the tribe of Manasseh, Gedai, the son of Susai; of the tribe of Dan, Amiel, the son of Gamalai; of the tribe of Asher, Sethur, the son of Michael; of the tribe of Naphtali, Nabai, the son of Bobsai; of the tribe of Gad, Goel, the son of Makai. These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Oshea, the son of Nun, Jehoshua. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you up this way southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not. And be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as men come to Hamath. And they ascended by the south, and came unto Hebron, where Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two upon a staff. And they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. The place was called the brook Eshcol, because a cluster of grapes which the children of Israel cut down from thence. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days.
Go ahead and let everybody catch up with us. The chapter and the verse.
All right, so we're in Numbers chapter 13,
I lost it.
and now we're at
Verse what?
verse 25.
Okay, go ahead. Go on.
So basically what we read over is that out of each tribe, Moses chose one man out of each tribe of the sons, and they were supposed to go seek out the land of Canaan and report back the condition, quality, and what the land consisted of in the land of Canaan. So
Very, very detailed.
So Numbers chapter 13, verse 25 says, And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and unto all the congregation, and shewed them the fruit of the land. And shewed them the fruit of the land. And they told him, and said, We came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled, and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea, and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses, and said, Let us go up at once, and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
Okay, so we can expound on this chapter. So there was a prince chosen out of each tribe, right? 12 princes in all to go and spy out the land, of Canaan, right? So the report that was brought back was that from most of them basically was a discouraging and negative reports, like, man, these people are huge, and the land, it devours the people, and it's like we're grasshoppers compared to them.
But
Well, go ahead, please.
at first, whenever they did bring back the report, they said that it was a land flowing with milk and honey, and that there was an abundance of fruit and goods there. And Caleb was the only one who said, Let us go up and possess it. And Numbers 13 and 30 says, And Caleb stilled the people before Moses, and said, Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are able to overcome it. And then after, it's what you were bringing out about the discouragement of the rest of the people and their little faith.
Right. When we read in the synopsis, Caleb and Joshua were the only ones that had a positive report, right? They had an optimistic view, so to speak. And then the other 10 princes they came back with the discouragement, like, man, I don't think we can do this. Man, these people are huge. Man, this, the land is this, and you know what I'm saying? It says, verse 32, and they brought up an evil report of the land by which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we had gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature. So they're like coming back with, man, I don't think we can deal with these people right here. So they're spreading that negative and discouraging other people. You know what I mean?
Right. They're looking at the outside.
Right.
The outside. It's not spiritual.
Exactly.
And it's not they're not looking at it as in the Most High is going to help us. They're looking at it as we can't do it.
Yeah.
It's what the carnal aspect is. We're looking at ourselves as, we're grasshoppers compared to these giants, but we're not looking through spiritual eyes. We're looking through carnal.
Right. Like the Most High ain't working with us.
Right. Yeah. In which that's why the report is evil. Because if you read that part again, it says, and they brought up an evil report. That's the negative. It wasn't the positive. Caleb, like Shimon brought up before, he brought the positive, the spiritual. Let's do it now. While he's going on faith, because they were given orders from Moses, of course, who received them from the Most High. So this is the negative report is negative because it's not faithful. It's not having the faith in the Most High and believing that the Most High is going to be the one that's going to give us this land of milk and honey. Basically, that's what I would say.
What if, I don't know if there's anybody else that wants to kind of add to that.
So I got 14. So we're in Numbers chapter 14 and verse 1. And it says, And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said unto them, Would God that we had died in the land of Egypt? Or would God we had died in this wilderness? And wherefore hath the Lord brought us unto this land, to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, Let us make a captain, and let us return into Egypt. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes. And they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, The land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it us, a land which floweth with milk and honey. Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones. And the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel. And the Lord said unto Moses, How long will this people provoke me? And how long will it be ere they believe me? For all the signs which I have showed among them, I will smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of thee a greater nation and mightier than they. 13. And Moses said unto the Lord, Then the Egyptians shall hear it, for thou broughtest up this people in thy might from among them, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that thou, Lord, art among this people, that thou, Lord, art seen face to face, and that thy cloud standeth over them, and that thou goest before them by day in a pillar of a cloud, and in a pillar of fire by night. Now if thou shalt kill all this people as one man, then the nations will have heard the fame of thee, will speak, saying, Because the Lord was not able to bring this people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he hath slain them in the wilderness. And now, I beseech thee, let the power of my Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying, The Lord is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity of this people, according unto the greatness of thy mercy, and as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt even until now. And the Lord said, I have pardoned according to thy word. But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoked me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereinto he went, and his seed shall possess it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwell in the valley. Tomorrow turn you and get you into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, How long shall I bear with this evil congregation which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, as truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in mine ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Doubtless ye shall not come into the land, concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save or except Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. But your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. But as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in this wilderness. 33. And your children shall wander in the wilderness for, we're in Numbers chapter 14 and verse 33. And your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear your whoredoms until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. After the number of the days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall ye bear your iniquities, even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise. I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. And the men which Moses sent to search the land, who returned and made all the congregation murmur against him, by bringing up a slander upon the land, even those men that did bring up the evil report upon the land died by the plague before the Lord. But Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, which were of the men that went to search the land, lived still. And Moses told these sayings unto all the children of Israel. And the people murmured greatly. Mourned greatly. And they rose up early in the morning and got them up into the top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we be here, and will go up unto the place which the Lord hath promised, for we have sinned. And Moses said, Wherefore now do ye transgress the commandment of the Lord? But it shall not prosper. Go not up, for the Lord is not among you, that ye be not smitten before your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and ye shall fall by the sword, because ye are turned away from the Lord. Therefore the Lord will not be with you. But they presumed to go up unto the hilltop. Nevertheless, the ark of the covenant of the Lord and Moses departed not out of the camp. Then the Amalekites came down, and the Canaanites which dwelt in that hill, and smote them, and discomfited them, even unto Hormah.
Want to expound on that? Anybody? So, throughout that chapter, I'll just say this: the Most High is upset with that generation because they're just acting like a bunch of spoiled brats. They have no faith. Everything that you saw, all the miracles that you saw the Most High perform, the plagues, the 10 plagues on the Egyptians, the parting of the Red Sea, like you didn't see that. Every last one of us at that time, we saw and witnessed that. You know what I mean? How is it that you witness the Most High's power and you see something you ain't never seen before, yet you're complaining? Like as if the Most High ain't gonna continue to take care of you, like as if you know what I mean?
Right.
The Most High did all those things for you. Y'all escaped slavery. Y'all got out of Egypt. Y'all you escaped with your lives, only to what? Go back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Remember, the scripture said we serve them with rigor. If we look up the word rigor, it's very hard, very harsh. Very harsh conditions.
Right.
Like basically being beaten while we're working and stuff like that if we ain't going fast enough. all government assistance cut off. It's like go gather straws for yourself. Whereas the Egyptians were bringing us the supplies, and then we were doing the work. Then there came a point where they stopped bringing us the supplies, and we had to go get the supplies and continue to do the work because they said, "Well, y'all got too much free time on your hands." Like these people are ready to go back to that.
Right. Point being is because once again from 13 now we're in 14. They were looking at it as if they did it. They weren't giving credit to the Most High. The Most High is the one who did all of this. And when you go back into the chapter of 14, it says that it was a slander. Basically, when they came back with those reports of negative, they were basically telling the Most High that he was a liar. Basically, that's why the punishment was so severe, because you're telling the Heavenly Father that, no, we can't do it, when he just told us that we could do it, and actually that he would do it for us. That's what I'm getting out of it, is that we were given that punishment because we basically called the Heavenly Father a liar. We slandered. The Most High said that everything that was going to be there, it was there. The land of milk and honey, the whole thing. So why wouldn't we be able?
How ungrateful and
Right.
spoiled.
Basically, it was our proving. It was the Most High saying, "Well, go look, prove." Just like he proves us, he asks that we prove him, right? So that's what I'm getting from it. I'm sure. I'm not.
If anybody else wants to expound on what they got out of that chapter. All right, guess we read on. Who wants to read chapter 15?
Numbers chapter 15, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land of your habitations, which I give unto you, and will make an offering by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering, or a sacrifice in performing a vow, or in a free will offering, or in your solemn feast, to make a sweet savor unto the Lord of the herd, or of the flock. Then shall he that offereth his offering unto the Lord bring a meat offering of a tenth deal of flour mingled with the fourth part of an hin of oil, and the fourth part of an hin of wine for a drink offering shalt thou prepare with burnt offering or sacrifice. For one lamb, or for a ram, thou shalt prepare for a meat offering 2/10 deals of flour mingled with the third part of an hin of oil. And for a drink offering, thou shalt offer the third part of an hin of wine for a sweet savor unto the Lord. And when thou preparest a bullock for a burnt offering, or for a sacrifice in performing a vow or peace offerings unto the Lord, then shall he bring with a bullock a meat offering of 3/10 deal of flour mingled with half an hin of oil. And thou shalt bring for a drink offering half a hin of wine for an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. Thus shall it be done for one bullock, or for one ram, or for one lamb, or for a lamb or a kid, according to the number that ye shall prepare, so shall ye do to every one according to their number. Verse 13. All that are born of the country shall do these things after this manner, in offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And if a stranger sojourn with you, or whosoever be among you in your generations, and will offer an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord, as he do, so he shall do. Verse 15. One ordinance shall be both for you of the congregation, and also the stranger that sojourneth with you, an ordinance forever in your generations. As ye are, so shall the stranger be before the Lord. One law and one manner shall be for you, and for the stranger that sojourneth with you. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land whither I bring you, then it shall be that when ye eat of the bread of the land, ye shall offer up an heave offering unto the Lord. Verse 20. Ye shall offer up a cake of the first of your dough for an heave offering, as ye do the heave offering of the threshing floor, so shall ye heave it. Of the first of your dough ye shall give unto the Lord an heave offering in your generations. And if ye have erred and not observed all these commandments which the Lord hath spoken unto Moses, even all that the Lord hath commanded you by the hand of Moses, from the day that the Lord commanded Moses, and henceforward among your generations, then it shall be, if aught be committed by ignorance without the knowledge of the congregation, that all the congregation shall offer one young bullock for a burnt offering, for a sweet savor unto the Lord, with his meat offering and his drink offering, according to the manner of one kid of the goats for a sin offering. Verse 25. And the priest shall make an atonement for all the congregation of the children of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them, for it is ignorance. And they shall bring their offering, a sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord, and their sin offering before the Lord, for their ignorance. Verse 26. And it shall be forgiven all the congregation of the children of Israel, and the stranger that sojourneth among them, seeing all the people were in ignorance. And if any soul sin through ignorance, then he shall bring a she-goat of the first year for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for the soul that sinneth ignorantly, when he sinneth by ignorance before the Lord, to make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. Ye shall have one law for him that sinneth through ignorance, both for him that is born among the children of Israel, and for the stranger that sojourneth among them. But the soul that doeth aught presumptuously, whether he be born in the land or a stranger, the same reproacheth the Lord. And that soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he hath despised the word of the Lord, and hath broken his commandment. That soul shall utterly be cut off. His iniquity shall be upon him. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And they put him inward, because it was not declared that or what should be done to him. And the Lord said to Moses, the man shall be surely put to death, and the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp, and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make fringes in the borders of their garments throughout the generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them. And that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a-whoring, that ye may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy unto your power. I am the Lord your power, which brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your power. I am the Lord your power.
Interesting chapter. Towards the end there, it was brought out the tradition of the fringes being put on our garments. So the children of Israel were the first people to ever do that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, That didn't belong to anybody else. We didn't get that from nobody else. That was a commandment from the Most High for us to start making our garments, like putting fringes on our garments. And did y'all notice what the purpose of the fringes were?
Yeah, the purpose of the fringes were to remind us to follow the law, statutes, and commandments, number one. Number two, to remind us of what we had did as far as when we went after other customs or traditions. But it says,
Verse 39.
verse 39, it says, "And it shall be unto you for a friend that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Most High, of the Lord, and do them, and that ye seek not after your own mind," meaning don't go on your own understanding, making a law within yourself, doing what you think you should be doing when it comes to decisions
This is
in
exactly what all
your
of
life.
us. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
In your life, but yeah,
This is exactly what all of us do today. It's embedded in us. This is what we do to this. One of the biggest things that we got to get out of us, that the Most High hates, is the end of verse 39 there. It says that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a whoring.
right.
You know, that we do that daily. We're just looking out for ourselves.
Right.
We're just coming up with our own. We rarely use scripture. We rarely use the instructions of the Most High, or have the Most High in our minds when we're thinking about whatever, making decisions.
That's right. It's
horrible, but that's one of the purposes of the fringes, was to keep that, because we'll slowly go astray, we'll forget, but one of the things these fringes were supposed to do was keep us in the mind frame, right?
Keep us in line with the law, statutes, and commandments.
The water,
which is
with the law, statutes.
Connected to Joshua 1:6 through 8.
6 through 8?
Right.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to read that, you can. You might as well. You want to bring it out?
Just want to bring that out.
You know what? I wanted to bring out something too, man. On us being spoiled and murmuring in the wilderness, pissing the Most High off, basically. Psalm 78. I want to go to Psalm 78 real quick. Yeah, we might as well start at verse 5. We're going to read down. But if somebody wants to get that real quick, because what we just read about is reminding me of this.
Psalms chapter 78, verse 5.
Go ahead.
For he established a testimony in Jacob.
So the Most High established his instructions, his law, his way of his. We're supposed to be made in the image of the Most High, right? He's chosen. We're supposed to do things the way He would do things. We're supposed to have the Most High's mind and operate the way He operates. You know what I mean? Making us a righteous nation, right? In His eyes. But go ahead.
And appointed a law in Israel.
Yeah, gave Israel the law, statutes, and commandments. The Israel is the people, right? Go ahead.
Which He commanded our fathers,
Mm-hmm.
that they should make them known to their children.
So we're supposed to be passing this down. We're not only supposed to receive it, but we're supposed to do and operate in this fashion. We're also supposed to raise our children in this, right? Go ahead.
That the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children.
Mm-hmm. So hundreds of years down, it's supposed to still be.
Yeah, it's like a beat out South Sudan commercial. Remember that?
And
so on.
And so on. Yeah. It's supposed to, you know what I mean? Hundreds of years down the line, thousands of years down the line, where it's supposed to still be in us, because we take it, we pass it down, we raise our children in it, they raise their children in it, that's what was supposed to happen. But go ahead.
That they might set their heart that they might set their hope in the Most High, and not forget the works of the Most High, but keep His
And
commandments.
not forget. That's key right there. We forgot. Went off the path. We started chasing desires. We started getting curious of the other nations. We went off. The Most High just, I don't know if it got boring to some of us, or too tedious for some of us, or what. But we decided to just forget and go and start doing our own thing. But go ahead.
And might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation.
Kind of jumped ahead. That's what I'm talking about. Stubborn and rebellious, turning a deaf ear and blind eye from the law, statutes, and commandments, basically. But go ahead.
A generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with the Most High.
So they didn't stick with the Most High. But go ahead.
Read on.
There's a point I'm getting to here. So yeah, go ahead. We're gonna run
verse
right
9.
into it.
The children of Ephraim, being armed and carrying bows, turned back in the day of battle. They kept not the covenant of the Most High, and refused to walk in His law.
Hey, became cowards. Go ahead.
And forgat His words, and His wonders that He had shewed them. Marvelous things did He in the sight of their fathers, in the land of Egypt, in the field of Zoan.
Forgot those. This is what I was talking about earlier. We forgot those marvelous works. We forgot those miracles. We forgot those things that the Most High, things that we had never seen before. We forgot the Most High showed us His power.
I think
Who has ever seen a huge body of water open up? And do you know how far they actually walked across? That's 100 miles.
And the floor was dry.
That's 100 miles. It was approximately 100 miles from here to Santa Rosa. Approximately. From here from Albuquerque to Santa.
I don't think we actually forgot, as in we forgot that He did it. I think what it means is we didn't take it the importance of it.
I can see if
you know what I mean. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We didn't. You know what I mean? As far as
we didn't forget.
We was like
spoiled. Like
how do you forget? It's like when you do something for somebody,
see that,
and you forgot. You forgot that I did this and this and this.
Man. It's not like
I didn't forget about it. I just took it for granted.
Yeah,
is what it's.
It's not like He split the Rio Grande.
Right.
It ain't like He split the Mississippi River. He split the Red Sea.
Right. It
wasn't a river. It was a sea that we had to walk across. And the whole time we're walking across it, there's a wall of water over here, and there's a wall of water over here. And how do you? Y'all are not looking at it like we've never seen nothing like this before. This is something that no man had ever witnessed before, ever.
Right.
And for us to even look at it in this time, like, wow, that would be mind blowing. That would this is the Most High, unquestionably. Like, how do you forget that? And then you know what I mean? Even a month later, 2 months later, you're running your mouth, talking cash. You know what I mean? Like, get out of here, man. Like, are you kidding? You know what I mean? The manna, you're running your mouth. Angels' food dropping from heaven, and you still running your mouth. Well, I'm getting to a point here, but go ahead, man. If you want to add something else.
Well, he called us cowards, dog.
To me, it's just mind blowing. Like,
cowards.
How do you witness all these miracles and these things, that the power of the Most High, and Him doing things that you ain't never seen before?
That's the thing.
And you still stuck on your crap. You know, that should have been enough. That should have been, for us to witness these things, should have been enough for all of us. Like, I'm with the Lord. Whatever you say, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I ain't never seen that happen. I'm convinced, Father. Just tell me what to do. Just tell me just point the way. Tell me what you want me to do, and it's done. You know know what I mean? It should have. That's the effect that us witnessing those marvelous works should have had on us. But we were in verse 12. I want to run into something here real quick.
Isaiah 51:10 is a good example of, it says, Lord, of the Lord, who dried up the sea, the waters of the great deep, who made the depths of the sea a pathway for the redeemed to cross over. They're talking about that parting of the Red Sea. The reason I was going there was just to find out about the Red Sea. Well, it's about 220 miles across at its widest point. So, just to give some a little bit of education on that.
Well, the width of it varied depending on where you were crossing.
Yeah.
Where they were crossing, it was supposedly about 100 miles.
That's about
100 miles, wall of water on one side, wall of water on the other side, so y'all could walk across. You know what I mean? Y'all were basically like, what are we gonna do? It's just, are we supposed to swim now? You know what I mean? Like, what are we, like, these people are chasing us, what are we supposed to do now? And he opened it up for us. A sea, not a river, a sea.
The whole point is that the Most High did it for us.
Exactly.
We lost our faith is what the point is. The point is we lost our faith in the Most High, thinking that we would be the ones that would have to battle against these other nations of people. We would have to be the ones to without his backing.
Yeah.
That's where the fear came in, because we didn't believe in ourselves, and we weren't supposed to. Who we were supposed to be believing in is the Most High, or the Heavenly Father, and forgetting that He was the one. We didn't bring ourselves out of Egypt. He did it. That's the whole point. The whole point is He said He was going to give it to us, but we came back with a report saying that, no, you ain't going to give it to us, because we can't, because the people are too powerful.
Also faith.
It's good, right?
Psalm 78:10. I want to get to this real quick. But great point you're bringing out. I'm not trying to cut you off. But let's finish this. Go back to Psalm 78:10. You're gonna read down to 19. Oh, go ahead.
Psalm 78:10. They kept not the covenant of the Most High, and refused to walk in his law,
Right.
and forget his words and his wonders that he has shewed them.
That's what I was just talking about. They forgot the works and the wonders, the things that we had never seen before. We forgot that the Most High allowed us to witness His power, His marvelous, miraculous works. Just the splitting of the Red Sea. To witness that and to walk through that 100 miles. But go ahead, read on.
Marvelous things did he in the sight of their fathers.
Yes.
In the land of
marvelous things. But go ahead.
In the land of Egypt, in the field of
So
Zoan.
we're talking about the plagues that he put on the Egyptians now, and we witnessed all of that. But none of that touched us. He was punishing the Egyptians. But go ahead, read verse 13.
He divided the sea.
That we just got done expounding on that, read.
And caused them to pass through. And he made the waters to stand as an heap.
Not a river, but a sea, right? It could have been more than 100 miles, like you're bringing out. But at the point they were supposed to, where they had crossed, that was supposed to be about 100 miles of sea that was actually split, approximately. But go ahead.
He, in the daytime.
So read 13 again.
Verse 13.
Because we got this, man. Read on, I'm sorry, read 13.
He divided the sea and caused them to pass through, and he made the waters to stand as an heap. In the daytime also he led them with a cloud, and all the night with a light of fire.
That, the pillar that we were following. At night it lit up because it's dark in the wilderness. If you're walking around Albuquerque at nighttime, you can see. You got city lights. Go out into the middle of nowhere where there ain't no lights. Go out where, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's dark, it's pitch black, like in the country, right? And out past Moriarty, like, you just, you know what I mean? You're driving on the highway, and a portion of the highway where there's no actual highway lights, turn your headlights off. I do it. I mess with my red light. She's watching. She knows what I'm talking about. Oh, don't do that. Don't do it. You can't see a damn thing. It's pitch black. You're scaring the mess out of it. I do that just, but it is pitch black. Is my point. It's pitch black. They're in
the wilderness.
Yeah. So
Right.
that fire by night, that's the only thing they can really see, because everything else is pitch black. You know what I mean? And that's just another thing the Most High was doing for them the whole time. The whole time they was what? Some of them running their mouth. See what all these wonders I'm doing for y'all, and y'all are gonna still act like a bunch of spoiled brats, complaining ass, trash talking. Shut up, man. You know what I mean? But anyway, read on.
It says, in the daytime also he led them with the cloud,
Mm-hmm.
and all the night with a light of fire. He clave the rocks in the wilderness, and gave them drink as out of the great depths. He brought streams also out of the rock, and caused waters to run down like rivers.
Right. When the last time you seen water come out of a rock? Well, go ahead.
And they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness.
So run your mouth, negative, murmuring, talking trash, talking against Moses. You know what I mean? Wanting to rise up against him and attack him. Well, go ahead.
And they tempted the Most High in their heart by asking meat for their lust.
Man, I'm hungry. Something to eat. Where's the dang food at? Right, go ahead. Give me some food.
Yea, they spake against
Check
the
this
Most
out.
Yea, they spake against the Most High. They said, can the Most High furnish a table in the wilderness?
I'm tired of sitting on the ground eating. Can God get us a table? Can we get a table? Can I get a table so I can eat like a civilized, like, you know what I'm saying? Just out here, you know what I mean? Can I get a table? Can we get a table? Father, can we get a table? Thank you. How long is it gonna be? Right. Running, you're like, who the hell are you, man? Just brought y'all out of slavery, and y'all want to go back to slavery. Can I get a table? I read that, that blew me away. Like, we were really there, like, any day now. Okay. So I was like, oh, that's how it is. Okay, gotcha. Y'all ain't going to the promised land. You're going to wander around until y'all drop dead. And I can see why now. Y'all going to bring that into the promised land? You'll be right back in slavery before you know it. Dummies. But go ahead. Anyway, that's all I wanted to bring out of that. That's basically what we just covered. And that Psalm 78, those verses kind of went right with it. But the next, does anybody want to expound on any more of 15 before we move on to the book of Joshua? Actually, do you want to add anything before we move on?
I wanted to add just everything that you guys were saying, just to great expounding. So one of the things that I had a couple of things in my head, but one of the things that that we could look at, like Brother Bar was saying, you were edifying on, is that the brother used the word lack of faith, and seeing and acknowledging that the Most High did it, as opposed to
maybe what they thought should take place or what have you. Well, one of the things I like, to recall for myself and to point out to myself and my children, that I think everybody should take into consideration. The scriptures talk about how Egypt is, it comes from, it was also called Mizraim, which means the siege or to be in bondage, Egypt. And America is also, tells you in Revelations, I think 11 and 8, spiritually Sodom and Egypt. So it has these same characteristics. And, to bring it up to date, one of the things that we can, also get from it is that, we need to look at ourselves. And, we're talking about our forefathers. We're talking about this. I mean, this was a lot of people, a lot of men. Was it 660,000 under the age of 20, and out of all of those, a little over 660,000, there was only 2 over the age of 20 that went in. A couple of things I wanted to point out that, first of all, let me just say in Numbers 15, so we're reading over the Torah, the law, we go through it. It's one of the things that we do to make sure that we always get this, and that we read the history, read the Torah, and so the brother is just going through it. We do the reading, and we want to bring out the basic principles and what was taking place. In chapter 15, we read about the laws concerning the offerings. Then it spoke about the Sabbath and breaking the Sabbath. It also spoke about the fringes, right? So that's what we get out of this chapter. One of the things that, again, going back to looking at us and reflecting on our forefathers and seeing this characteristics, somebody will, or anybody, I might get it first, but if on the online etymology dictionary, just look up the word. One person look up remember, other one forget, and the other one gratitude. Because one of the things that I think that is important to look at is that let's see when it was talking about these words remember, because it told us the fringes is for us to remember, right? So we see this occurrence, and you'll see this pattern in what's commonly known as the Old Testament, better known as the Hebrew Bible, is that when something would occur, then the Most High would he would have it written down. He said, okay, you want to pretend like you don't understand, or you want to pretend like you didn't see what's going on, or you want to pretend like you didn't know, or your parents didn't tell you, whatever it may be. The Most High said, okay, we're going to write it down, So after this occurrence, then he tells us about the fringes. After the occurrence, he tells us, okay, here's the sin, and this is what you're going to do if it's in your ignorance, or if it's intentional. What's the word that he used?
Yeah,
You did say. Yeah, what did it say? Ignorance or presumptuous.
Yeah.
Like you figure you just gonna go ahead and overstep your bounds and do what the hell you want. Like
Purposely.
And then when you read Psalm 78, that was a good, definitely could touch on it and speaking more about it. So we'll also go back to there. And we might want to look up that word presumptuous, but in 40, when he's telling us about it, let's look up the word remember in the online etymology dictionary. So I just wanted to point out a couple of things, just to again, this is the things done before time. We can learn from them, and if we don't want to repeat these same occurrences, and they had to go through this hell, if they had to go, through this foolishness and anger the Most High in this capacity, we definitely don't want to do those same things. So this is the history. We're looking at it. We're really supposed to get something out of it, change, and not do the same things, right? So, anybody have it?
I don't have
Okay.
that particular.
I get
it.
I get it. So, remember. So it says, the verb. It says mid 1400. So it says remember. It says keep something, someone in mind, retain in memory, recall or bring to mind, be mindful of. So to remember. So now we're seeing at the end of 15 that the Most High is like, listen, make these fringes so that you do remember, right? So now remember when we were reading before that happened, it said that they didn't remember what the Most High did, right? That they were basically unmindful. So we see the word remember, and again, I'm talking to myself first because this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I want to learn and get from it, so that I can change, right? That's the whole intent. Is that I see the word, and it says to keep something or someone in mind. Now, we look at remember like, I forgot, what he did. I'm thinking to myself, did they really forget manna fell out of the air? Did they really forget that, they was asking for meat and their mouths were stuffed? Right. Did they really forget? I mean, just in a short 40-year span. Yeah. I'm thinking, maybe it's somewhat possible, maybe not. They forget that the seed, right, and they just walked all that way. So all of this. So I'm thinking, did they forget it, or did they? Now let's look up forget. So remember, that's remember. Now let's look up. So now we're gonna look at forget, because when you're reading in Psalm 78, it shows us a little something. So it says forget. It says lose the power of recalling, to fail to remember, neglect inadvertently, use probably, it says away, amiss, opposite to grasp, to loose from the mind. To loose from the mind. That's what I forget, not remember. Yeah. So, when somebody says, hey, man, you know what? Listen, let's do this because we just, the Red Sea just got split. And then you say, oh, man.
Forget about that.
Forget you.
So you're doing that on purpose. You're
losing the money. But
it's the difference.
But maybe what? Like the table, right? What did they actually want? What did they recall to mind? Egypt. They recalled to mind Egypt. They wanted Egypt. What about the leeks? Okay, that's why they said, can you make us a table? We're out here in the desert. Where are you going to get all the leeks from? Where's all the cattle? So they're like, yeah, let's see, lay it out. Most High said that you want to lay it out? Stuff your mouth till you damn fall out. So now, you mean to tell me that they didn't recall that they remembered it? Yeah. I'm highly suspect that they was just like, forget that. Yep. I'm more interested in remembering what? Egypt. Now, hold on, what? Egypt. Well, let's fast forward it, because I can see this one a lot clearer in the life I'm living. Right. Now, imagine we leave, and it's like, nah, I understand that the Most High, is providing for us this tree, and we can pull from these pine cones and the piñons, and, we can eat a little bit, but where's the microwave? Right. See what I'm saying? Like, you got so used and so comfortable to that. Right. Now you're just telling the Most High, forget your pecans and your nuts and your little herbs and right, you taking it for granted. Jump the gun, but okay. Now let's look up gratitude, because this is showing you, man, that they were ingrates. Ingrates. Right. Like you could really forget all that? No. You chose to be like, man, the hell with that. I want something else. Right. And you called to mind Egypt and decided that bullshit. I mean, that's what's so, no wonder the Most High said, you know what? Cool. I'll just smoke your ass. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I'll put you in the microwave. You like it so much. And to hell with you. Literally to hell with you. Right. Really? So, again, and it's real interesting because what does America offer us that is so enticing? The comfort. Now, we're getting our asses beat in Egypt. Beat to work harder. But somehow, we got so, I don't even know what the hell to call it, because I can't even really fathom it.
Content?
How would you be content with getting your ass beat to the fact that you're going to work harder and work longer, and then somebody come bring you some leeks, right? We'll just use what they and give and feed you it afterwards, and this and you be like, woo. Now that reminds me of, you know what I mean? You go to work, you go 40 hours, you work a little overtime, get your check, and go to Walmart and be like, thanks, and then go walking down the aisle, all grateful.
Right.
Okay. Maybe yeah, it is exactly the same thing. Because then who gets the gratification? Walmart.
Right.
Who we know damn well who owns Walmart, and we know that it's in American Egypt, right? So they got all that. Now, you mean to tell me that you're bringing to mind the Most High when you get that apple out of the bag that you got in Walmart? Just let's be honest. You goddamn right you ain't. Like but we'll use American religion and be like, oh, thank the Lord, I got my check and I got this thing. Well, what Lord? What ruler?
Right.
Oh, thank God. What God? The God of Egypt, maybe? So we really have to look at what the hell is going on here. That's why, if you had an apple tree in your backyard, why are you still? I mean, it happens. Why are you still going to Walmart?
Buying apples.
If you have rainwater coming down, why don't you have any rain collected tub? I mean, I'm talking to myself too.
That's institutional.
Why don't you have it? Yeah, and so we're reading it right here. So again, is it just the story of leaving Egypt no, forget. It's like forget you. I got Walmart. Forget you. I got a paycheck. Forget you. I got a boss. I got a new job, and they give me better pay. For you,
It's the same mindset.
Same mindset. And what do they do? Oh, you know what? We're going to move you right out of slavery, into employee.
Right.
Now, if you give the damn reservation, the ghettos and the barrios, if you bring them all the way down, right, rigor, all the way down to where here, boy, here's your shiny penny. You think that when you say you free, and I'm going to give you a nickel, that's 5 times what you were getting in slavery. Hell yeah, you're going to be happy. Beyond crumbs. Exactly. But that's the whole thing. And so then at that point, what happens? They say, well, you're free. Where are we going to go? Same thing. And then have the audacity to say, you brought us out here to die? Well, so again, the point is looking at remember, and then the Most High say, you know what? Put the fringes on there. You want to play games, right? Put the fringes on there so you can know who you are, who your Lord is, who's ruling you, where your real paycheck is, where the apples came from before they got in them bags, before they got to Walmart. You know what I'm saying? If you could pick them to bring them to Master, to put them in a basket, he puts them on a truck and then circles back around. You walk to the front of the store from the back of the store to pay him to get the apples that you just picked, but God put them on the tree? Like, really? So again, what level of damn ingrates are we talking about? So anybody got gratitude?
Some gratitude.
Yeah. I'll get it. Because that's the whole thing. For us to be ingrates, it's like literally telling the Most High, like, you know what? I'm not interested in that. Egypt, I liked what they had going on there. And a lot of people in America are going to be totally like, and I used an example the other day. I mean, it's like, whether everybody wants a Mustang or a Camaro or a badass truck. Now, for the truck, all of a sudden you go out there, the truck is gone, the $60,000 truck, just be honest. And then there's like 4 Clydesdales with a wagon but laid out. 4 healthy ass Clydesdales. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna be like, you ain't gonna know what. You're gonna be like, well. And if you do ride off with, right, I ain't trying to ride. But if you do ride off with this thing other, but you're gonna be looking at everybody else passing in cars.
Right.
That's the level of it. You have to be real with it. You got to be real with it. You got to see the level of what the actual is causing this. But you want to go to work for a $60,000 vehicle to be gratified to get in it, turn up, bump in your mirrors, and fly back and forth. Have AC when that's what it is. It's like you slave for the comforts of Egypt. Now, what's wrong with the nice morning breeze and the dew and the apple on the tree and the lettuce coming out of the ground? I mean, it's like, and then the horse, and then I mean, that's the whole, the land flowing milk and honey. That's the whole flip. So it's like, how in the hell did they go in, have two men, a branch with a cluster of grapes, two men carrying it out, and like Caleb and them are like, yes, this is the move. Everybody else is like, ain't got no microwaves there?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no! Man, you brought us out here to die. You see them all them damn giants and stuff. Man, you crazy.
Where's the table and chairs?
Right, but again, so it'd be like today. Oh man, you crazy. See all them police in their cars and what did it say? The land has consumed them?
Yeah.
How'd it go? Said the land
Consume the inhabitants there.
yeah, and that so right. So it's like, man, you see all the police and their laser guns. They even got police robots. You see all the stuff that they got, the gear, they got the tanks and this and the other.
Right.
Come on. So now we gonna rush on in here because the Most High told us, listen, what did Caleb say? He said, their strength fails them, or their what did they call it? Come on, y'all read it. I wasn't even here.
Back in Numbers 13.
Yeah, he said, go ahead and take the land. Their strength has failed them. He
Right.
said the Most High is with us.
Yeah, yeah.
The Most High
It's like
delight
The
is
time
with
is
us,
now.
right?
It's
Time
right
is
now.
now.
Time is now.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, the Most High was delighted with us. Well, I ain't said, I don't know why, but He wanted to have delight in us, and we straight up turned on Him, man. That's some real sucker chunk stuff. For all the gangsters, for everybody who's hard, for everybody who's down, for everybody who's talking about loyalty and raza, right? And don't be a snitch, and if you go down on all that jail shit, I don't know about. But anyway, all that stuff, man. It's like, okay, well, let's see how down you are now. Let's see how hard you are, how loyal you are to the Most High now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that's what it is. But so that would be like us rushing in on America. You'd be like, man, do you see all them damn tanks? Do you see all them damn guys? You see all them laser guns? Do you see all that stuff? And it'd be like, man, but the Most High told us to just go ahead in there and do it. Right. No weapon formed against us will prosper. So again, that's what we're gonna face. So again, we got to see it for the reality of it, so that we can understand. When we do come to face this, what is it gonna be like? It's gonna be to that same level. All them people didn't die for no damn reason, just they were like, oh no, hell no, okay, man, like, yeah, cool. Oh no, you know what I mean? Yeah, cool. This and that. No, there was stuff working in their head. You mean to tell me that the iPhone ain't gonna work in your head, the microwave ain't gonna work in your head, the Xbox? Man, as soon as you get from here to the mountains, 24 hours pass, and I'm not on the game, so I can't use that as that. But I mean, you know how many people are gonna be missing their Xbox or whatever the hell, the PlayStation or whatever them things are? Yeah, exactly. Turn off the Wi-Fi. Take the iPhone, man. It's over. So exactly, but but we can't see that as serving with rigor. They live to what? You live your ass to what? To buy and to pay, and that's all you do. You run in a circle to go get money, to give it away. Go get money, give it away. Go get it. Slaving to damn right for the so-called luxuries of Egypt, America. Yeah, that's what. But listen, you getting pimped. What did the Most High said? When you desire. That's what a whoring means. It means to have a desire. I want that. The Most High said, when you go a whoring, when you go desiring all that, look at them fringes. That's what. When you look up the word of whoring, that's what it's telling you. Is that you have a deep desire. And there was another one where it talked about estranged. That we weren't estranged. So this is showing you, man, is that I just wanted to bring it out. I mentioned gratitude, but I didn't read it. Gratitude. It says goodwill. So after all that happened, we didn't have a goodwill towards the Most High. We were ingrates. That meant that we saw it as I ain't happy with that. Then it says, directly from medieval, it says thankfulness, right? We were unthankful. We were unthankful for that. And so the fact that we referenced Egypt, what were we thankful for? For what the hell Egypt was beating our behind for and now making us serve with rigor and then giving us some damn leaks? I guess that was the lick. I guess it's like getting out there and like all of a sudden you don't get no menudo, no tripas, no damn what did Judah call it? Damn, I can't. I'm embarrassed. Chitlins. You know what I mean? But that's what it's like. It's like the slave food. So happy to be a slave, and you get slave food, then you get out of the wilderness, and then now you're mad because you can't do it up like when you was in slavery. Like to me, it's just ridiculous. So, I just wanted to bring that out about the whole ingrate part. The meaning of remember, it means, and forget is like to put it out of mind. We saw it, it was very apparent, and we put it out of mind. Why? Because Egypt was still in our minds. That's why the Most High told us, come out of her, my people. Come out of her way. And your whole thought process. Come out of Egypt and your whole thought process and be renewed where?
In your mind. Spirit.
Right, in your mind, right? Be renewed in our minds, right? So that's the whole thing, man. Our minds, we are so caught up in this society, so caught up in this that we are literally going to work, thanking God, and being highly deceived. Walmart ain't God. Your paycheck ain't God. It's not the Most High. That's the creature, not the that's the creature, the creation. It's not the creator. So this is the whole point, and one of the things that I always remind myself is that when you're talking about the Creator, when you came here, just literally boom, picture everything gone. When you came here, there's the earth under your feet, there's the air, there's the water, trees, sun. You have everything you need, everything. To make clothes, make shelter, to eat, to live abundantly. So that is the essence of one of the main things that I like to reflect on and remind myself in the wilderness. Remind myself, just like the last couple of verses we read in 15. Remind of the fringes. The fringes to remember that everything was already there. But we got so comfortable with somebody else having a slave and offer us this other option that we was like, listen, forget that. I'm ingrateful. I'm an ingrate. I don't want to plant no trees. I don't want to pick. I don't want to. The Most High literally was handing it to us. We ate angels' food, fell out of the heavens. So again, that was my point. Just wanted to point out.
The water for bringing that up. Definitely a lot of insight. The next portion of the Torah readings is actually the Haftarah portion. It's Joshua, the 2nd chapter. It's just 24 verses. Don, I don't know if you want me to read.
I'll read.
The three brothers that just read. Whoever hasn't read and wants to read. Or I can read it.
I'll read it.
Okay.
Joshua chapter 2, and start at verse 1.
Yeah, there's that whole chapter 1 through 24.
Joshua, the 2nd chapter. And Joshua, the son of Nun, sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into an harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, behold, there came men hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, bring forth the men that are come to thee, which are entered into thine house, for they be come to search out all the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, there came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whither the men went, I wot not. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof. And she said unto them, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man, because of you. For the Lord your power, he is the power in heaven above, and in earth beneath. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that you will also shew kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token. And that ye will save alive my father, and my mother, and my brethren, and my sisters, and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, Our life for yours, if ye utter not this our business. And it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town's wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, Get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers be returned. And afterward may ye go your way. And the men said unto her, We will be blameless of this thine oath, which thou hast made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window, which thou didst let us down by. And thou shalt bring thy father, and thy mother, and thy brethren, and all thy father's household home unto thee. And it shall be, that whosoever shall go out of the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand be upon him. And if thou utter this our business, then we will be quit of thine oath, which thou hast made us to swear. And she said, According unto your words, so be it. And she sent them away, and they departed. And she bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went, and came up to the mountain, and abode there 3 days, until the pursuers were returned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So the 2 men returned, and descended from the mountain, and passed over, and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and told him all things that befell them. And they said unto Joshua, Truly the Lord hath delivered into our hands all the land, for even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us.
That's an interesting perspective. So this woman hid these 2 and redirected the men that were going after them earlier in the chapter. Where once she sent them all, they went that way. So yeah, you'll catch her. Just what I'm saying, they went that way.
You know what's crazy about that though?
What's up?
This is not even an Israelite.
The woman,
yeah, but she's going by, man, I know your power's reputation. But the Israelites couldn't even get that in their head, like, man, you're part of the Red Sea. Man, he's dropping food from the sky. That makes no sense.
But
they believed.
Jews require a sign, but the Greeks seek after wisdom.
Bananas.
But we should be seeking after the wisdom of the Most High. But to us, we gotta see it. Seeing is believing. It is ridiculous, but that's our people. But yeah, she's not even Israel. Did anybody else get anything out of that chapter?
So you guys see right here in Joshua, this is when they went in. This is showing you what actually took a snippet of what took place when they were in there, right? Because when they went in to spy, Joshua and Caleb, she took in Rahab, like the brother said, of one of these nations. They actually took and hid them. So that's what we're reading right here is an event that took place while they were in there, and like the brother brought out, that Rahab had actually acknowledged that everybody there was in fear and that they knew that it was a done deal. And Caleb and Joshua made it out safe. She made an agreement with him. Look, I hid y'all. When y'all come in and put to death everybody and and do whatever the Most High is going to allow you to do to us, spare me and my family. It was like, hey, it'd be so cool, you spared us, we'll spare you. And
that fear is a powerful tool as well, because if I can quote old Iron Mike Tyson over there, he said when he gets in the ring, he says he's looking at him. Mm-hmm. As soon as you take your eye off of me, I got you.
Right.
I already won.
Right.
And that's what she's talking about, that, we already crumbled it in fear.
Right.
But fear alone, you won half the battle.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes no sense for these non-believers to be like, hey, I don't know if we can do this.
Right, right. Well, like how she said, you see, but she specifically quoted, she made reference to how they heard what happened with the parting of the Red Sea, right?
Yeah.
So even so they recalled to mind and actually acknowledged, knowing damn well, it's over. We on the other hand, we was looking for something else. We totally disregarded it in grades and was looking for something else. And then, as the other brother brought out earlier, had actually went back and spoke evil, and slander, as if going against the Most High commandment.
And it makes perfect sense why he wanted to purge them out, because the Most High don't make no punk. And if you're with him, you're going 100. You're not going to go, well, I don't know.
Right.
You think we can do this?
No.
He said, I made you follow my rule. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
March. Let's get it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, these cats, they were sugarfooting it.
Doubting.
Yeah.
Most I say, woe unto the faint-hearted, for they shall not be defended. That's in the Apocrypha. But there's nothing else. We got one more part. Hebrews chapter 3, verse 7 through 4 and 1. And that's the Brit Chadashah portion. And we'll wrap it up with that. Whoever wants to read that, I can read it. Doesn't matter. It's just a few verses, really. Hebrews chapter 3, verse 7 through 4 and 1.
Hebrews chapter 3, verse 7. Wherefore, as the Holy Spirit saith, today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation, in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me and proved me, and saw my works 40 years. Wherefore I was grieved with that generation, and said, they do always err in their heart, and they have not known my ways. So I swear in my wrath, they shall not enter into my rest. Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living God. But exhort one another daily, while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. For we are made partakers of Christ, if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast into the end. While it is said, today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation. For some, when they had heard, did provoke, howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses, but with whom he was grieved 40 years. Was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness, and to whom sware he that they should not enter into his rest, but to them that believed not? So we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it.
That's it. It was really just a reminder of what we went over in Numbers. The warning of, just don't harden your heart. Don't fall into the deceitfulness of sin. As we read in what was verse 13, 3 and 13. Yeah, so you can see why the Most High wasn't letting any of that generation make it to the promised land.
Bad batch.
2
Yeah.
Timothy 3:16.
You got it.
I got it. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness.
Go ahead. Verse 17.
That the man of the Most High may be perfect, truly furnished unto all good works.
Okay, so if we look at this scripture right here, all scripture is given by inspiration of God, is profitable for doctrine, reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. And if we're looking at, and also things that have written aforetime are written for our learning. So if we're looking at this, what they went through here in the wilderness, with Most High saying that, where are we here? Let me pull that back up. There we are. In the heart, it said, he's telling us, harden our hearts as in the provocation, in the day of temptation, in the wilderness. So this is going back into the wilderness. This is Paul writing this, saying, hey, remember these things. Do not harden your heart now in this time, because it happened in that time. They hardened their hearts. The children of Israel hardened their hearts, and they had to wander the desert for 40 years. Whereas as the times are approaching now, in the times where we're going to have to go back into the wilderness, this is a warning. This is Most High saying, hey, be wary of this. Do not harden your heart now. Do not fall out of belief. Continue to believe in the Christ, in these scriptures, in these words, so they will prove you. Don't go erring in your heart. So that way, when this time comes and we go back into the wilderness, if we remember these things, then we should be able to make it through the wilderness, into that key. Hey, this is what I'm looking at.
Learn from their examples. That makes sense.
So why for bringing that up? I can touch on something real quick. Romans 15 and 4. Romans chapter 15, verse 4. So I can read that for me real quick.
Romans chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
That's that's the thing right there. It says whatsoever things written aforetime written for our learning, even the mistakes that were made. Even the mistakes that were made. And that's what we just basically, that was what today's Torah was really about, was, okay, you know what I mean? This is an example of how not to be. This is an example of what upsets the mind. When you get caught up in your feelings, and you get caught up in your lust, and you get caught up in your, you know what I'm saying? What are some of the things they started to do? Start murmuring against the Most High, start murmuring against Moses, start murmuring against Joshua, and you know what I mean? Start complaining about little stuff. Just you guys really?
That's funny.
Yeah, y'all just revert to big, just overgrown ass kids now, just spoiled brats. Some of you in your 30s, 40s, 50s, just like little brats. And y'all really forgot that quick all of these wonders that you just witnessed. Y'all forgot that fast, really. And you just wrapped up in yourselves that much. You forgot you just came out of slavery. Really? Okay, cool. Most High said cool. Yeah. But even today, we're subject to that type of, what do you call it, relapsing. Even today, we can forget. We can, you know what I mean? Even in the truth, even with this knowledge, even knowing, even reading these stories, and okay, we got to remember not to make those mistakes. We can forget, and we could easily get wrapped back up in our own thinking, our own thought process, our own, and we start straying away from the scriptures and start looking for our own comfort again. And before you know it, we're okay. You know, we're back. You know, we're like the scripture said, dog returned to his own vomit. Again, we're right back in that mess. And it's always worse. It's always worse when you go back. It's always worse. It really is. You went back looking for what? You're worse off than when you came in. That's why the scriptures even come back and say it would have been better for you not to know the ways of the Lord, not to even come into this truth, than you to come in and hear it and accept it and then go back. You know? But these scriptures give us the opportunity, if I could say it this way, to learn secondhand. We don't have to go through all of this. We don't got to put yourself through all this. Just, we've been through enough. If you're old enough, we've been through enough. But that's it, man. We got a late start, so we're ending late. It's 10:40. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. If nothing else, if nobody else has anything.
I just want to add one more thing.
Sure.
Hebrews, again, I just want to point out where it said that they harden their hearts. When you look up the word harden, it means unfeeling. So again, it goes with the whole fail to mind, meaning forget or remember, because when you look up unfeeling, meaning hardened heart, it means to be insatiable, meaning that you don't have any
Like discretion.
Or not insatiable. It's like you're not satisfied. I mean,
Desensitized.
yeah, desensitized or fail to feel. So it means that what the Most High did for us, we failed to have any feeling about that.
We have no sympathy.
So when we harden our hearts, it means that it didn't touch our minds. It didn't have no effect on us because we're, it's one thing to look at it hard-headed. Like, I ain't trying to hear that. That's the forget. but meaning that it didn't really touch us.
Numb.
You know, numb, like, So, unfeeling, it said, I'm sorry, not unsatiable, insensibility, meaning that we weren't sensitive to it. It didn't affect us. And I don't know how that can affect anybody, but lack of feeling, devoid of kindly or tender feelings. See, so that's that's the heart and heart. You ain't. It's like I said, you ain't trying to feel that. That's so.
I'm not feeling it. I'm not trying to hear that.
Looking at the word provocation.
That's his problem.
Provoke. Action or speech that makes someone annoyed or angry, especially deliberately. You kind of think, what if you were looking at this? Was Israel actually deliberately making the Most High angry? We were out of content, or hey, we don't want to do this. We don't want to follow your ways. But we want to go back into Egypt. We want our old lifestyles back. We want our comforts. So that's just alone looking at that word there, especially deliberately,
And so what that provoke means to call out. So you remember when they did that? Remember, so you read in Psalms. Remember
when they were provoking him to anger, when they were murmuring against him?
So the provocation is what it said. So to provocate means to call out. So there was like calling out the Most High. Remember, that's what the Most High said. He said, "Oh, they proved me." Like the Most High has proven us. He's the just. He's the righteous. The power. He's the one who there's no flaws. We're actually going to prove him. Oh, bring us meat. You know what I mean? We want meat.
Where's my table?
Lay it out. We're in the desert. Like, you know what I mean? Where's the feast at? We want meat. You giving us bread. Where's the meat? Lay it out. So that's to provocate means to call out. They calling out the Most High, like, what's up? Can you do this? We're in the desert. Can you do this?
Yeah,
in Egypt, we had this. Can you do this?
Yeah. Make us
Like, right there, damn well you ready to smack the hell out of somebody. Even me doing the damn justice, I was ready to damn smack my own damn self. Like, what the hell? Like, shut that. Like, are you really out of your mind? But that's and then picture your own child doing that.
I wish it would.
You know what I'm saying? So, again, bringing it to that realization, that's what we need to do is deal with truth, deal with ourselves, bring it to that reality. That's what we're looking at. America is set up worse than Egypt, worse than Sodom. It's like a new Sodom and Gomorrah, so that just shows you it's a double up right there on top of what happened. So again, this is real life stuff. We're in it. We're not just reading about it. We're in it.
A lot of our people are walking around today with the same mentality. But things were written aforetime. What happened to them? We still gotta go to the wilderness. If you make it to the chariots, great experience. But we still gotta go through the wilderness, and we still gotta get purged. You know what I mean? You made it to the chariots don't mean you're home free. You made it that far, great, but just like this wilderness, we still gotta make it through the wilderness. It's basically gonna be right just all over again, just in a different time. All right, let's see where your heart is at. Time of judgment. And none of us are exempt.
Right.
None of us.
That's the end of the reading?
That's pretty much it. That's all I got.
Thank you for listening in to Blog Talk Radio and ISBHPK ABQ Live on YouTube. With that, we'd like to say shalom.
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 That's good. So, Shabo's suggestion was to do the same thing again. Are we off?